As the dust settles on what was an extraordinary ICC T20 World Cup, it is time to pick the team of the tournament. And that is always the most difficult exercise to do, one that you will never agree with because everyone's choices are different, but one that was rendered even more difficult this time by the different kind of conditions this was played in. I mean, there were teams that played in St. Lucia, there were other teams that played in Barbados, two teams that actually supported good batting, but there were other games that were played in St. Vincent, some games that were played in New York, and that produced some really skewed results. There were some results from Oman, Uganda, and those kind of teams that were feeling themselves around the World Cup that also produced slightly one-sided results. How seriously can you look at those? And so, normally, where we look at strike rates, economy rates, averages, etc. We look at numbers, we look at analytics. This time, I've looked at numbers, but I've also looked at an instinct, at a gut feel. And that is why I think your team is likely to be very different from mine. And I'll explain why as I go along. No doubt about my first opener, and that was Rohit Sharma, who played some defining innings in this tournament, was always propping up India in a certain way, but also had bought into this idea of batting with a very high strike rate, slightly higher risk compared to everywhere else. Gee, when he got going, he was sensational. So Rohit Sharma in and as captain because he just was that good in what he did. But it was the second opener that I had a few thoughts. Always good to have a left-hander. Travis Head had his moments in this World Cup. Quinton de Kock had his moments, would also have been the wicket-keeper in this side. But I found it very difficult to look beyond Rahmanullah Gurbaz because he was in a side that, while the batting improved, was largely a bowling-driven side. And it was his opening partnerships with Ibrahim Zadran that set the tone for some of their most famous wins, including that one against Australia. They had 2 or 3 century opening partnerships in his first couple of games. He had outscored the entire opposition. So Rahmanullah Gurbaz is my other opener, even though he's right-handed, and makes the team as the wicket-keeper. Number 3 was the peculiar one. You know, a lot of you who watch these videos of mine, I never like to pick people out of position because I think that's a cop-out in picking a team. So I had to find number 3s, and you know what? There were hardly any standout number 3s in this tournament. I also wanted a left-hander, and that made it a little easier to look at Nicholas Pooran, who played a couple of breathtaking innings. Some innings, much like Pooran, you always wish for more, but on the evidence of what I saw, I thought Nicholas Pooran slotted in at number 3. Then it came to number 4 and 5. He may not have got runs in the final, Suryakumar Yadav, but he produced a couple of match-changing innings. He played in his own style. His strike rate was excellent. And as soon as the matches moved to more predictable bounce kind of pitches, he was himself again. I mean, some of the shots he played in the semi-final just were jaw-dropping, so it wasn't very difficult to pick Suryakumar Yadav at 4. It was at number 5 that the tricky parts began. David Miller was a good player. I really wanted to pick Roston Chase of the West Indies, only batted thrice, but he got a 40 and a 50. Bowled his off-spin really well on these surfaces. A third spinner was always very handy. So I had Roston Chase, and even as I speak, I'm still thinking, I think Roston Chase should be that player at number 5. But in spite of the fact that he didn't have a wow tournament, I saw Heinrich Klaasen batting in that final. That one innings was enough for me to convince me. I mean, he had a couple of other innings. It's not that he didn't have a good tournament, but I just saw that and I thought, nah, Heinrich Klaasen is my number 5. It's wow. 6 and 7 became easier. Initially, I thought maybe Marcus Stoinis at 5, where he played a lot of his games for Australia, but 5 and 6, I'm fairly flexible, as I am with 6 and 7. And so I've got 2 seam bowling all-rounders there, both of whom batted really well in that slot. The only other person you could have looked at was maybe someone like an Akshar Patel, who played 2 roles, would have been the left-arm spinner in the side too, but very difficult to look beyond Marcus Stoinis and Hardik Pandya at 6 and 7. Now I'm looking for 4 specialist bowlers because I've already got 2 seamers. And therefore, instead of going 3 seam, I have no choice through my own doing of looking beyond 2 spinners and 2 fast bowlers. And I'll tell you why that is an issue. Rashid Khan, I think, picks himself. He lifted the side When it came to the bat, he made those important contributions. So Rashid Khan at 8 to me was an absolute no-brainer, as was Kuldeep Yadav as the second spinner. Didn't play in New York, by the way, but that was a tactical decision. Didn't have a great final, but in between was invaluable for India and just was one of the best spinners. I mean, your option was to pick Adam Zampa as well, but you had Rashid Khan and Adam Zampa. I thought Adil Rashid bowled beautifully in this tournament, but I just thought the left-handedness of Kuldeep Yadav made a big difference. So those are my two spinners. Now the fast bowlers. Jasprit Bumrah was the easiest pick of them all. That leaves me with one more. Heinrich Nokia had a fabulous World Cup. He bowled rockets, his economy rate was good, he was taking wickets. Fazal Farooqi was taking a lot of wickets at the top, and I have no issue at all if you have Fazal Farooqi in your side. But as the tournament went along, there was a young fast bowler who took on more and more responsibilities. 2 for 20 in the final, was always there, and that was Arshdeep Singh. So I've actually, as a very last minute change, gone from Fazal Farooqi to Arshdeep Singh. That's how it is. Now, the first thing that will strike you is there was a team that won 7 matches there and has only one player in this team of the tournament, and that to a late call-in in Heinrich Klaasen. Look at what South Africa did. At different times, different players won their matches. Kagiso Rabada once, Maharaj, Shamsi, Miller, Quinton de Kock. Different times, different people were standing up. Now, what happens in that situation? It's fantastic for a team that is actually playing the game and is then going on to almost win the title. But when you're picking a team of the tournament, one individual player hasn't done enough to then find his way into this team of the tournament. And so my apologies. I love the way South Africa played, but we see that happening in the IPL as well. An ensemble cast is absolutely perfect for a very good T20 side. This is only an academic exercise. It's not very good in picking a T20 team of the tournament. So there you are. I think I've got all my bases covered. I've got a left-hander in the top order. I'd have loved to have had another left-hander somewhere there in the midst. I think I've got 2 quality spinners, 2 seam bowling all-rounders who hit the ball hard, just the bowler of his era, and a very good captain. So tell me what you think, and as I always say, pick your own team.